we have a full update on this kind of killings around the globe, and then the steps that the government has put in place. So we will introduce ourselves and then go straight to the point. I am Honorable Madi Sise, Secondary West, a member of the committee, stepping in for the chairmanship. Both the chair and the vice are out of the parliament, so I'm stepping in, acting as the chair.
Honorable Musa Cham, member. Honorable Tamsir Cham, member for Lower Nyomi and a member of this committee.
Good afternoon, Momoduba, Assistant Senior Committee Clerk.
Technicians that we can get closer to the mic because the output is affected. So anybody speaking, please, can you get closer to the mic? Thank you.
Ambassador Lang Yabo, Permanent Secretary and Head of Diplomatic Service.
My name is Maimuna Sala, under the Director of Diaspora and Migration.
Mine Abubakar Sise, under the same directorate.
Good afternoon, my name is Yaharin Jai, under the Diaspora and Migration Directorate of the Ministry.
Thank you very much. Now that we know who and who is within the building, we'll go straight to the point. Whoever wishes to take the lead is going to be ambassador or any other person. You're welcome. On the first 3.1 on the circumstances surrounding the killings of Gambian migrants in Germany and Egypt.
Okay now. Thank you very much, Chair. On behalf of my delegation, I want to take this opportunity to thank you and members of your committee and your subject specialists once again giving us this opportunity to come and interact with you. It's always a privilege for us because as partners, when we don't interact, we will not be able to understand each other. That's why we are always available anytime this Honorable August Assembly asks us to come and talk about issues that we are mutually interested in. That is the welfare of Gambians and issues affecting them outside. Specifically speaking, honorable members, the case of Aissatou Kor was a very sad incident. We are all sad when we heard the news. The ministry, after hearing the news, engaged the Egyptian authorities through diplomatic channels, through their ambassador in Dakar, and also the Gambia has what we call a liaison office in Egypt. And we engaged the liaison officer also to make sure that he interacts with the Egyptian authorities to be able to get more information as to what exactly happened. Because when life is involved in anything, it becomes a very serious matter. And I also had the opportunity, together with the director and my minister, to meet one-to-one with the Egyptian ambassador in Dakar. Among other things we told him is the importance of making sure that we get the full facts of what has happened. Because as a country and as a government, we are very much concerned about the welfare of our citizens. And the ambassador has agreed, or he has taken details and promised that his government will do everything possible and they will come back to us. Because the story that we had was that the police said there was a new degree. Sorry. Can I continue? The information that we had was that the government of Egypt passed what is called degree number 3326, which affect people who are not legally resident in Egypt. And because of the coming into force of this degree, the police started going around to arrest or to question illegal migrants. And unfortunately, our sister happens to be one of them. This is the information we have. She lived in the same flat with a Sierra Leonean national as her friend. So on that fateful day, the police came there to ask for this document. Naturally, she doesn't have, like any other illegal immigrant. They said she asked to go and use the toilet. Then they were waiting, then they allowed her to enter the toilet. They waited for some time, they didn't hear anything. Then they went and checked the toilet. On the whole, according to what they said, she has already, jumped using the toilet window. And unfortunately, she was seriously injured. Then she was taken to the hospital. After a couple of days, eventually, she died. The story of the police, they said, was also confirmed by her own roommate from Sierra Leone. But of course, these are things that when they happen, who knows, maybe the roommate too was also not having papers. So one cannot outrightly say that yes, whatever she said is the truth, because a foreigner in a foreign land without documentation, sometimes there are natural difficulties when it comes to things dealing with the government. So, but this is the story that we had from them, that she jumped from the toilet window, and that's what led to her death. As I said, we have engaged the Egyptian authorities, and now we are waiting for the final report from them. The liaison office in Cairo has worked very hard with some philanthropists to facilitate the return to the Gambia of the dead body. So this is in brief what we have as far as the unfortunate death of our sister Aishat Chori is concerned. Again, on the 30th of March 2024, we all had the unfortunate killing of a Gambian national in Germany called Mr. Lamin Toure. When the news came, immediately on Monday morning, we summoned the German ambassador in the Gambia to come to the foreign ministry to hear from them why and what went wrong. Unfortunately, he was out of town, but the next most senior officer in the mission was summoned to the ministry. And then she came. We had a good meeting with her, conveyed to her the concerns of the ministry and the government, and the need for an urgent and impartial investigation so that there is accountability in the case. She has also assured us that the government of Germany is taking this case very seriously. And in fact, at the time, the government was considering appointing a federal prosecutor, and also an independent police unit was assigned the investigation so that there will be fairness in the case. And I can confirm to you that this morning we received a letter from the German minister in charge of foreign Africa, to my minister, expressing sadness and then also confirming that they have set up that investigation as requested by the ministry. So we are hopeful that in weeks to come, we may be able to have the full investigative report as far as this particular case is concerned. And because it's an abnormal case, abnormal in the sense that police went to arrest, were called to a scene, and an unarmed somebody, even if they said the person has knives, how many police officers came? We thought they could have used other methods rather than just shooting him. And these points were conveyed through diplomatic channels to the German authorities. So because of the circumstances, our mission in Brussels also dispatched Deputy Ambassador to go to the scene and meet the family on behalf of the government and people of the Gambia. And again, the mission thought, because government has a stake in the case, it's a special, peculiar case. So there are difficulties getting the body to come to the Gambia. There was a recommendation that ministry consider paying for the repatriation of the body. So at the moment, we have debated that. We have serious financial issues, but as a relationship manager, we came to the conclusion that we are not setting a precedent, but it's important since the state has a keen interest in this case, and then in the minds of most of us, it's our key partner which is at fault. That's the government of Germany, because it's their state agents. So we are considering paying for the repatriation of the body to the Gambia because it's a special situation. Basically, this is what we also have as far as the case of Mr. Ture is concerned in Germany, except if my director or colleagues want to add anything.
No other intervention on your side? Honorable members, we've had ambassador on the two main cases, the case in Germany and the case in Egypt. So I would now open the floor for members to ask questions for clarity, because ambassador's intervention has covered the 2 points. That is the update and what steps has the government taken. So clearly from his intervention, I am able to pick some of the steps taken, and then there's an update. But now we'll open the floor for honorable members for questions or any other additional things you want to, as far as this case is concerned.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. I would like to ask a question, because based on your submission, what you have said, that's the version of the Egyptian authorities. But as a ministry that is responsible for the welfare of Gambians abroad, and in your submission, you have stated that the Egyptian authority have established a decree 3326 regarding to the status of migrants in Egypt. So I would like to ask, what, or did your ministry, through the liaison officer, establish a committee to investigate the death of Aissatou Kor? That is one. And again, did your ministry also pursue the matter to the international courts to get more facts from independent authorities? Thank you very much. Does your ministry have the intention to pursue this matter with the international courts to have an independent authority to ascertain whether the reasons advanced by the Egyptian authorities are true or false? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Whether we establish a committee to investigate, no. Because the practicality of that, the incident happened in Egypt. If you set up a committee here, what is going to be the mechanism that we are going to put in place that the committee will be able to do the investigation? Normally, in cases like this, you use diplomatic channels. That's the standard practice everywhere in the world.
Sorry, let me observe you. I said whether your ministry have established a committee through the liaison officer in Egypt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you establish a committee through a liaison officer in Egypt? The liaison officer is one person in Egypt. So how can you set up a committee? How practical would that be? What you can do is you have a relationship with this country, and unfortunately, something happens that affects your national. The right thing to do is to place your concern before them, believing that they are also a credible government, and they will act in good faith by giving you the true picture of things. Of course, after the outcome of the investigation. Because sometimes when things like this happen, even the authorities may not get the full facts, except those who are on the ground. So we believe that the government of the Republic of Egypt would do a thorough investigation in this case, and whatever the outcome, we trust it. Going to the international court, I don't think we are at that stage yet. I don't think so.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like you said, maybe it may be difficult for you to establish a committee in Egypt, but you do have a Gambian community in Egypt, and you do have other partners, diplomatic ties with other West African countries that are in Egypt. So you can try to create some sort of a committee so that we can have an independent statement or independent information regarding to the death of this lady. Because according to what we have heard in the cyberspace, that this lady was thrown out of that building she was walking. So that is why we are asking whether you have established a sort of a committee that can investigate into this matter.
Yes, I think I answered that question, Honorable. We also had that. That's why I said in situations like that, it's always difficult to just come to a conclusion. And that's why I exercise caution in saying the official version that was given to us represent ABCD. That's what I said. And you have Gambians there, but if you are to set up a committee of Gambian hustlers to investigate, how do you think they are going to go about investigating a murder case, or an alleged, manslaughter or murder case? How? I don't think that is practical, Honorable. With all due respect, these are also Gambians hustling there. If you put them together to say investigate this, case, a case as serious as this one, who is going to give them access? Will they have access to the police who are involved? I doubt. Even if you have an ambassador on the ground in Egypt, I doubt if the ambassador can just walk into a police station to investigate a case as complicated as this. In any case, you will need the support and cooperation of the host of the country concerned.
Now, can we have Honorable South? Next question.
Chair, and thank you. Yes, Ambassador Yam. Ambassador, the killings of Gambian abroad from an increase, that migration has increased, and the number of migrants or number of Gambians abroad now also increasing. But police brutality in the West or outside Gambia to Gambians is getting common now. What is the stand of your ministry? Do you also stand with other human rights defendants to make condemnation so that such will not be repeated? Because we need to see Gambia government coming up, with your position to condemn if such things happen. So, but we don't expect the government to wait until things are overtaken by events. We need to see action. Though, as you said, you are doing your best at your own end. But we need the public need to know. You also need to stand up as a ministry and show your condemnation. And if needs be, now you need to find out whether this woman is part of the migrants without papers. Do you have a data of migrants in Egypt, of Gambians who have documents and who are not documented? Do you understand? We need to have data. So I want to ask you, do you have your data in place, and do you make any condemnation as a government to some of these killings that are happening to Gambians outside?
Just 1 minute, I want to look at this. Yes, Honorable, we are all concerned. As I said when I was in my intervention, anything that involves loss of life is always a concern. And as a ministry, we have never been found wanting when it comes to condemning those things. Maybe you have not been following it on the press, but we did. Indeed, we condemned. We came out with a statement immediately after the incident. And unfortunate as they are, we will continue to do our level best as a ministry. Work with our partners, as partner countries where our citizens are, to continue to, express our concern when it comes to these things. But yes, we have been condemning it. I don't know whether that answered your question. I was looking for the last press release, which I can read to you if you want.
You established that the woman that was allegedly thrown out,
Yes.
was he illegal?
Yes, indeed. She doesn't have papers. You see, you have traveled before, you know. When it comes to documentation in certain parts of the world, it's not as easy as in some places. It's always difficult. And sometimes it's a bit painful what people go through when it comes to this documentation. But again, going into somebody's country without documentation also is illegal. So it's a very difficult issue and at the same time sensitive. Because they will ask questions, then if you don't have the right to stay here, why do you stay? But those are not the questions one will ask when something like this happen. When something like this happen, we all, show concern, we all do what is right by making sure that the country concerned, as a government, we bring our concern to them, and as for the families, that as a ministry and as a government, we will continue to do everything possible to support them.
Thank you, Honorable Sise.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, PS and colleagues. I'm very sorry for coming late. I kind of involved. I witnessed an accident on the way, and I have to volunteer to take the patient to the hospital. PS, according to your statement in regards to Lamin Toure's case in Germany, and the Gambia government is trying to repatriate the body back to Gambia for the befitting burial. Don't you think that your appeal can go to the German government? Hence, they are the culprits towards the killing of this guy. Why can't they themselves try to repatriate? And the Gambia government should put so many modalities to see that we are not expecting for the victim to get a justice. I am not expecting that, especially when it happened in certain natures. But there can be a bilateral relationship whereby the German government can compensate the family. That within that period, that also is subject to the negotiations. They are the one who killed the guy. And the witnesses has been saying that he is mentally instable and they kill him. By doing so, definitely I think they should have the responsibility to give the body a very, very high consideration, to repatriate him back to the Gambia, moreover, to compensate the family. That would not save his life back. That would not get him back to the family, but at least the pain can be also eased.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I agree with you. But, if we are to sit here and then say, okay, let's approach the German government to pay for the repatriation of the body, how long do you think that will take?
I can intervene to that. A similar case happened in 2013 in New York, where a Gambian was killed, which is Lamin Silla. He left my house about 6 hours later, went to work. He ate in my house, left for work. Within 30 minutes after arriving at the job, it was attacked. And when he was killed, the family members were allowed to, they give 2 visas to the family members. And by joining us in New York, they end up eventually paying the ticket for the family back again to and fro and repatriate the body again. So it all subjected to negotiation. The Gambian community in New York was very strong. And we make sure that what is supposed to be happening at that time, the necessary to be taking place. And such a negotiation also can imply here. This is what I, just through the experience, so I would try to put that one to you.
Well, you have a very good point there. The only difference is if you compare mangoes with apples, sometimes they don't work. Every country is unique. Gambian community in New York, a lot of you were citizens of America. You have rights that our citizens today in Egypt don't have. That right that you have, your members of parliament, your representatives consider that. The situation in Egypt today is totally different. In Germany today is a bit different. And now, if we are to say, okay, we are going to approach the government of Germany to pay for the repatriation, yes, it's doable, we can approach. But the concern here is, how long will it take? If they are telling you the investigation is going to take a couple of weeks. So naturally, if you have to approach them and they are going to pay for this, they will have to wait for the outcome of the investigation. So how long will that take? Only God knows. The family will not have an early closure.
You might not know unless you try, because that particular case I'm trying to put here, the boy was a legal resident in New York. It's a legal documented person. And when that happened, allow me here, when that happened, is those who were able to face the authority. We went up to the governor of New York to lay our concern and what we want. Sometimes if you don't knock the doors, you might not know. When we were even doing that approach, we were skeptically, probably it might not happen. But at the end of the day, they know that this is something tragedy, and that's not even by the police of New York. Those are gang attacks. But the state has taken the responsibility, hence, the person died in New York. They take the full responsibility.
If you say we, who are you? Who went? Who?
The Gambian.
The Gambian.
The resident Gambian, including myself.
You went to Washington or you went to New York State?
The New York State.
See, that's what I'm saying. Quite often, we always have this belief that what happened in this place can happen in another place.
Yes, you have to understand one thing here. Allow me here. I am not saying, I'm just putting a proposal.
Let me
Don't you think?
Let me learn.
But Chair, I want to observe the proceedings here. Yeah, because the trend the PS is going, he should not be asking us questions. We are expressing our frustration about what happens. So he should brief us.
And I did that, Honorable. I did that. What I am trying to say here is, I said that we have summoned the German ambassador to our office. As a diplomat, there are procedures you follow. You see, we have to understand the job and the mandate. It's not what somebody think should happen in every situation. No. Situations like this, when they happen, the first thing you do as a ministry is to summon the country's representative. We have done that. And we engage the representative. But it's not everything that we also discuss with the representative. I can sit here because somebody is recording me and say it. It doesn't work like that. We have taken note. And the German authorities, I even said, a minister wrote to my minister. That's one of the highest in diplomacy. A state minister has taken it upon herself to write to my minister to acknowledge our efforts and to also assure us that as an important partner, they will cooperate. Honestly, things cannot just happen overnight. Difficult as it is, and unfortunate as it is, when certain things happen, they have to take their natural course. We have to be mindful of that too.
I think you end up answering the question. If you begin there, probably the exchange might not be prolonged. I am kind of satisfied, but if you play the Chanka behavior here, because according to you, you mentioned that the government is intending to repatriate, but due to the financial concern, they are trying. That make me to reflect my mind back. So in case if there is an issue of repatriating troops from the Gambia, why can't these people intervene? And probably within the situation in their hand right now, according to what you are saying, that they are at fault. they might not find it very difficult to repatriate the body back to Gambia. This is my concern there.
For those clarifications.
If
Ambassador, you have something
yeah,
additional?
what I said is that there are difficulties in getting the body to the Gambia. And because in our view, as recommended by our mission in Brussels, the state has an interest in the case. We are considering giving approval to that request as a special case to repatriate the body. This is what I said. And I said because my personal view is the police were at fault. But would that come into play when the government of Germany is deciding? Would they say the PS Foreign Affairs said our police are at fault, so we are going to pay for the repatriation of the body tomorrow? That may not happen. So if we want to have an urgent solution to the case in terms of bringing the body to Gambia, we might as well do that on our own. And the other thing, since the government of Germany has assured us that there will be fair play in the case, we take them for their words. We cannot, well, as a ministry, we will not go into assuming that, those things will not happen. We'll go by the rules to say, well, we have summoned them and they said A, B, C, D. A week after, their own minister also wrote. So naturally, that for me, I think is a bit satisfying.
I have a third one in the case of Egypt. You've heard the side of the story of the Egyptian authority. Now, how about the side of the story of our liaison officer, whom I visited the scene?
Yes, the liaison officer sent us the official version, because when the incident happened, he visited the scene. He also interacted with the Egyptian authorities, including the police. And the version they gave him is what he narrated to us in the form of a report. That's what I read to you.
Okay, thank you very much. As per your explanation, what happens really contradicts the principles of IOM. And was this matter reported to the IOM to do further investigation? And two, with regards to the German authorities and the killing of this Mr. Toure, there was also another video that went on viral here in the Gambia, that a Gambian was deported and they put some metal in his mouth, which was very difficult for them to take it out at the airport, and this guy had to be taken to the RVTH for them to take that thing out of his mouth. So was your ministry aware? And if you are aware, what steps have you taken?
Thank you very much, Honorable. Principles of IOM, I'm here with my experts. Maybe they will be able to answer that. But I can assure you that matters like this are better handled between two states than the route you are talking about. IOM is an international organization that is not an abstract entity or supernatural entity. It is owned by us, the member states. IOM acts on our behalf, funded by us, member states. That's the little I know about IOM. So government rushing to IOM to report the killing of a national would not be something that I would recommend. But as I said, I stand to be corrected. On the issue of the Gambian national who was deported with a metal put in his mouth, again, that issue was also raised in that same meeting. The German side want evidence. We also want evidence. We couldn't have the evidence. We are still waiting. If at all it was removed at the Edward Francis Small Hospital, one would have thought that a medical report would accompany that claim. So that's what we are waiting for. Get in touch with the German authorities. Because even they themselves expressed surprise that such a thing can happen. And the flight will also allow that passenger on board. So, but it's news out there. We are waiting for the person to come forward and give us the medical report. Because we believe Edward Francis Hospital will not treat somebody like that without a medical report. So at least a medical report would be able to rest the case.
So did you contacted the Edward Francis Smalls Teaching Hospital?
Honorable, sometimes I think we have to also understand that this is a ministry with so much responsibility. If somebody is laying a claim, the person should provide the proof as well. It's not for the ministry to be going after everything to tell people, oh, you brought this, let's investigate and build it. You are the one saying this has happened to you. Bring your evidence and see what the ministry will do. That's what should happen.
On the whole, does that mean that that was not a true scenario, what that happened here in the Gambia?
No, I am not saying that. I am saying we saw it on social media. We reacted in a manner that maybe I can assess it on tape. We even contacted authorities. But I don't have to be here to be naming those things. What I'm saying is, now there is a claim that this is what happened to you, and you went to the hospital. We want to have the hospital report as a ministry. When we have that, we'll pick up from there.
We would allow this to rest because I think there's much light has been thrown on it. But I can assure members and ambassador that the Committee on Foreign Affairs is really very concerned about the life of our citizens abroad. So we take your word. Most of these cases, according to you, are at investigative level. But rest assured that you will get a letter from us to give us updates on the final findings of those investigations in both Egypt and Germany. And at the beginning, I also said privileged to know that one of our citizens also was killed in U.S. I don't know whether your ministry is aware. If you are and you are in a position to tell us anything about them, fine. If you cannot at this point, we can wait for the other avenues for that. After that, I think SMS can, or you have nothing to, okay. You can give us a response to that.
No, that one I think is news to us. So maybe give us an indication of the place, then we will be able to get in touch with our colleagues in DC.
That's good. Honorable members,
maybe if you have the name and the city, it will be helpful.
Okay, we'll try to do that. Honorable members, any more? We will await on the investigations. The committee will write back to the ministry because we have to get to the bottom of these issues. Okay. So on that note, we are grateful and thank you, Ambassador, and your team. We would allow you to leave and then we'll go to AOB. Thank you.